Hello, Canucks fans. Welcome back to another episode of Canucks Conversation, brought to you by Bet365. We're coming to you from the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studios. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. My name is David Quadrelli. I am joined by Harman Dial. What is with this? Okay, every time we're late, which it's basically every day, everybody blames me. It's not my fault. It's really no one's fault. If anything, it's Jacob's fault, but it's really no one's fault.
Whoa. I've been in here ready to go since 1:30. So
Hey,
I'll have
man.
none of that.
So if it's not my fault and it's not your fault, whose fault is it, Jacob?
I mean, Harm was a little late today, but usually it's nobody's fault.
RE45 in the chat said chances Harm has the sniffles. Harm, we went for dinner last night.
No,
and
I'm good. No, don't.
Yep.
I'm not taking these bullets.
I've been doing wellness checks, man. I've been doing wellness checks on you every day. I'm checking on you. So one day away from the watch party at Greta. More on that later. But Harman, feeling good. I'm feeling good. It's a Canucks game day. Let's get into it. Speaking of our chat, I want to tell everybody about our Super Chat charity partner this season, the BC Mental Health Foundation. You want to make sure your question or comment gets on the show? Hit us with a Super Chat. Proceeds from our Super Chat go to the BC Mental Health Foundation, changing the face of mental health and addiction by supporting breakthroughs in care, public understanding, research, and knowledge exchange. Like I said, Harm, Canucks game day today. Did we get any updates beyond what we had yesterday and today? Like, I know they didn't do a skate today, so we were going to get the old pregame media avail where sometimes lineup notes are shared and sometimes they aren't. Adam Foote had already shared that it was going to be a Thatcher Demko start. That's 4 straight starts for Thatcher Demko. Is Horvat back tonight? That's the one I was kind of looking for. He did not take line rushes.
It doesn't sound like it.
He didn't take rushes today. He wasn't at morning skate for the Islanders, so it doesn't sound like Bo Horvat's going to play.
Yeah, so, and it's remarkable that the Owls, and we're going to do a really early transition to the stat of the day. Because it's about these New York Islanders. The stat of the day is a presentation of Uber Eats. Uber Eats is enabling fans to maximize their fandom all season long with exclusive game day deals on the app. From game day eats to paper plates and napkins, if you're hosting, to all the ingredients you need to make your favorite game day dip. Before, during, and after the game, Uber Eats is assisting every fan's hockey experience all season long. #crave the stats. The New York Islanders have beaten the Tampa Bay Lightning 3 times just in the month of December without Bo Horvat. It's remarkable that also no Kyle Palmieri. They've been missing Romanov on the blue line. So just the overall month of December, it's surprising that the Isles have been this dominant, not just beating the Lightning 3 times, but also beating the Colorado Avalanche 6-3, beating the Wagon Anaheim Ducks 5-2, beating the Vegas Golden Knights 5-4. So it's not just that the Islanders are winning games despite being banged up. They're beating some of these heavy hitter juggernaut teams around the NHL. And when I look at why the Isles have been more competitive than expected, I mean, you have to start with Matthew Schaefer, obviously. He's been, right from day one, not just the front runner for the Calder Trophy, but one of the 10 best defensemen in the NHL this season.
Yeah.
It's a treat to watch him play. He's going to absolutely be in the Makar Hughes tier of defensemen where he's a perennial Norris candidate, but also he's doing what Makar and Hughes didn't do, right? Like Schaefer's coming in as an 18-year-old. Somebody had a stat where they're comparing Schaefer, who's also barely eligible for this year's draft. If he was born about 2 or 3 weeks later, he would have been a 2026 NHL draft pick. So not just 18, but a very young 18 at that. Someone was, after a multi-point game that he had against the Islanders, someone was pointing out, at this exact age, in terms of not just the years, but months, Cale Makar was still playing for the Brooks Bandits in the AJHL, is 5 months away from being drafted by the Colorado Avalanche. So, we've seen some special rookie performances from Makar, from Hughes, from Lane Hudson, but those guys have been older. So to see what Makar is doing at 18, there's an argument to be made, what Schaefer's doing. There's an argument to be made that this is the best 18-year-old defenseman we've seen, at least in the last quarter century, but maybe even of all time.
Yep. And I was gonna ask you, do you have other names? Like, I'm trying to think of who else broke into the league at 18. Because, like you said, most guys,
Well,
Makar,
Dahleen had a 40-ish point season. Like, he was very good, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't.
Yeah, but Schaefer, no, he's not Matthew Schaefer. Like, Dahlin's definitely not doing what Schaefer is doing this season. Like, no chance. And I know part of what we're going to talk about today, I was going to save it for anyone else. This rebuild article that you wrote. I really liked it, Harm. I really liked it, and I read it, and it doesn't sound like the Canucks are going to rebuild. Based on what you were writing, it doesn't sound like the Canucks are very interested in rebuilding. I want to get to your piece a little later, not to get to it too soon, but it sounds like the Canucks are basically saying, like, okay, well, if we get Matthew Schaefer at the top of the draft, if we get our own generational talent at the top of the draft, we have enough pieces from the Hughes trade and enough of our own pieces in Braden Coots, John Lekermacki, Alexei Medvedev, future Hall of Famer, that we're going to be able to be competitive in 2-3 years because we've got these young guys already, and we're going to go add a generational talent at the top of the draft. Like, that's what it's. The plan sounds like it's based largely around luck and things going well for the team.
Yeah, and as I noted a couple of days ago, we've been spoiled lately by Schaefer, by Celebrini, by Bedard instantly coming in and becoming stars. But between 2019 to 2022, you look at the top 3 picks, and not all of them were franchise game changers, especially not immediately. What we're seeing now is a bit rare. And so to think that, you'd first need some lottery luck to get the first overall pick, but also even if you do get the first overall pick, sometimes that player is a Uri Slafkovsky. Sometimes it's an Owen Power. Sometimes it's a Jack Hughes who, yes, is a superstar, but doesn't hit that level for a couple of years. I mean, think about how long it took Nathan MacKinnon to become the Nathan MacKinnon that we know today. It took him a few seasons to actually, I think it might have been year 5 that he finally became a 100-point player. Before that, he was a good player, but not a franchise-altering piece.
He even, remember the season before he broke out, he said, I need to figure it out or they're going to trade me. Like, Nathan MacKinnon wasn't Nathan MacKinnon overnight.
100%. And then if you don't get the number 1 overall pick, then the odds of that player being an instant game changer diminish further. I mean, look at the history of number 2 picks from 2019 to 2025, right? And it's not to take anything away from these players, because I imagine some of these guys will become elite at some point. But this idea that even if you get some luck and end up with pick number 2, you bring him in and that's going to be the key to an accelerated turnaround. Like, Michael Misa isn't an immediate game changer. He's an elite prospect. I expect him to be a star one day, but it's not as if San Jose being competitive this year is because Michael Misa has been a difference maker. In 2024, the Hawks with Levchinov, he's still finding his way. He's a decent young defenseman, but we're not talking about a guy that's come in and had anywhere close to a Schaefer level impact. Leo Carlsson. All right. So in year 3, Leo Carlsson has been that franchise changing superstar, but it's year 3. And then you go through the other number 2 picks. Nemec, he's not there yet. Matty Beniers is a 40-point two-way center. Quentin Byfield, he's a top 6 center, but he's not an elite number 1. And then Kaapo Kakko was a bust. So this isn't I'm on Team Tank. I want the Canucks to land a top 3 pick this year, undeniably. And I know that the Canucks view landing a top 3 pick this year as a key ingredient to accelerate and fast track what they're trying to do. But to think that you're going to land a top 3 pick this year, and we also got the Minnesota first round pick this year, and we got Zeev Bouillon and Marco Rossi, and this is going to be a quick turnaround. You're going to need everything to break right for it to work. And how often have we seen the Canucks make a plan that only really works if everything breaks right? I'm a little bit worried.
I think that's totally fair. And it's what I said the other day, remember, where I said the fear is that the Canucks aren't rebuilding to finally build a cup contender. It's that they're rebuilding to get just ahead of the mushy middle, like slightly ahead of it, but not to be an actual contender. They're just rebuilding enough to sell hope and get back to where they were, where you can sell a new core, you can sell the hope, but it's just the same thing with a different coat of paint.
Well, the important thing is, yeah, they've got some pieces on the blue line. Yeah, I know the organization is high on the goaltending pipeline that they have with Medvedev, with Tolopilo, with Ty Young, but look up front. You're so devoid of elite talent. You are so devoid where, look at this current Canucks team. Tell me that, is there a single forward on this Canucks team that would be a first-line player on a Stanley Cup contending team?
No. Maybe Elias Pettersson.
Even PD, you're talking about a player that has scored 0.74 points per game over his last 125 regular season games.
Did you say Stanley Cup contender?
Yeah, I said Stanley Cup contender.
Okay. Then no.
Sorry. So like PD at this stage, unless he miraculously bounces back and returns to being the 90 to 100 point player that he used to be, and yeah, he has been modestly better this year, but you're talking about a player that profiles as a low end first line player. And especially when you look at, like, I don't know if he's necessarily going to be a playoff performer that thrives under pressure. Today, if he was on a cup contending team today, he'd be more of a premium 2C rather than I'm expecting this guy to win matchups in the playoffs against Connor McDavid in the Western Conference Final or Nathan McKinnon in a playoff series, right? And that doesn't even consider the aging risk, where by the time you build the next great Canucks team, Pettersson is going to be well into his 30s. So you can't bank on him being a future first liner for you. And then DeBrusque, Garland, all these other guys are middle sixers. And then when I look at Vancouver's prospect pool, a guy like Braden Coots, his stock has obviously risen, but this is a player that was initially pegged when he was drafted, even by people that like to pick, as, oh, he could be a really good middle six center moving forward. Now, maybe you upgrade the ceiling on him based on the early returns, but to me, he's the equivalent of Bo Horvat as far as what he means to your franchise moving forward. He's not a franchise-changing superstar. So then you look at, all right, how many elite forwards do you need to contend for a Stanley Cup? I mean, the Panthers had Barkov, Matthew Tkachuk, and Sam Reinhart. They were so deep that Brad Marchand was on their third line. The Avs, who are the best team in the NHL this season, they have McKinnon, Necas, Nichushkin, and then an embarrassment of middle six riches. Lightning have Kucherov, Point, Hagel, Gensel. Stars have Rantanen, Robertson, Johnston, Hintz. They're 3 or 4 elite pieces away, especially, like, forget the current contenders, the next gen teams that are up and coming and are going to be threats in a few years. Those are the ones you should be looking at, because that's the Canucks' realistic timeline in terms of what they're chasing when they're actually going to be competitive. It's like the Sharks already have Celebrini, Will Smith, and Michael Misa, and William Eklund. The Blackhawks, they're waiting for the next wave, but they at least have Connor Bedard. The Ducks have Leo Carlson, Cutter Gauthier, and Beckett Seneca. So to land 3 to 4 elite forwards is going to take time. And that doesn't even take into consideration the possibility that the Canucks are well aware that this is a defenseman-heavy class, where depending on where you're picking, the best player available might not be a forward. It might be a defenseman. And while you'd be happy to draft a future star defenseman, and you're going to take the best player available if there's a significant gap, ultimately, if there's a scenario where, let's say, you end up with the 4th overall pick, maybe a defenseman's the best player because Gavin McKinnon and Ivar Stenberg are off the board. And so you still need to, like, it delays the timeline where even though you got a pretty high pick, you still haven't landed a game-breaking forward. So that's that's where I'm concerned, where, yeah, I like the shape of the blue line and the goaltending situation moving forward, but there's just so much elite talent that you need to add up front before you can contend for a Stanley Cup.
I'll say this, devil's advocate, because I like to do that sometimes. Some of those pieces, they didn't get them all through the draft. All those pieces you're talking about, right? Like you brought up Tampa Bay, Jake Gensel, free agent. Can you make yourself an enticing free agent destination? I think that'll be a question for the Canucks going forward. Again, if you're looking at this turnaround and saying, hey, we want this elite core, no elite free agent is signing here right now, right? So can you get to a point where, Quinn Hughes becomes available, Connor Bedard, Macklin Celebrini, I'm joking about that tier of player, but can you get to the point where like an elite player wants to sign here and buy into what you're selling?
Well, more than signing, it's putting yourself in a position that when a Quinn Hughes is somehow available, you have the assets to strike the
That's
way the
true too.
Minnesota Wild did. And that's
Yep.
why it's important to accumulate aggressively. Where the Stars, sure, they didn't draft Mikko Rantanen, but they drafted Logan Stankoven, who the Hurricanes viewed as an essential piece to get back for them to relinquish Mikko Rantanen. So you got to build your surplus up, and when there are occasional opportunities for a superstar to be in place, if you don't have excess draft picks that you can give up, excess prospects, young players, you're not realistically going to be in on the bidding. It's why part of the reason why New Jersey couldn't be in on Quinn Hughes. Yeah, they had their cap issues, and that was
Yeah.
a major logistical hurdle, but also the Devils didn't draft well enough with their first rounders, and so they had an opportunity to draft Marco Rossi, picked Alexander Holtz instead. Same thing with Zeev Bouillon. So I get what you're saying, but you still need to spend time just acquiring as many young assets as you can, building through the draft.
Yeah, again, I'm trying to play devil's advocate, but there's no denying that the way to do this, and we had this conversation with Patrick Johnson as well, is like you need the quantity. Like you need to load up on those picks. And the way you're getting those picks is by trading guys that it kind of sounds like they don't want to trade. Another thing you talked about in your article, and I think you mentioned this yesterday as well, is like they don't seem to want to trade any of their veteran blue liners.
Yeah, that's a feeling I get. I don't sense an overall appetite for them to want to move players with term left on their contracts unless those players inform management that they want out, which at this stage, I have not heard of any of that happening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's because they think they're going to do a quicker turnaround. They're going to be competitive sooner rather than later. And so they look at a Hronek, Connor Garland, DeBrusk, some of these guys and go, oh, they're not that old. Whereas I agree that you need some vets, right? I'm not advocating for them to tear it down to the studs and do it as dramatically as the Chicago Blackhawks, where it was basically an AHL team that was strictly tanking for Connor Bedard. But I don't get the sense that there's going to be an enormous fire sale. Now, could a team call and knock the Canucks socks off? Where, all right, we're changing our mind, sure. But and especially on the blue line, I don't see them looking at moving some of those veterans, and even widely speaking, this was one of my other takeaways from the story and just doing some digging on this team's plan. I don't get the feeling at all that this team wants to bottom out after the season. I think they are totally fine with it this season.
So this isn't a rebuild then. Like they can say it's a rebuild. It's our captain wanted out, our generational talent wanted it out, and we did good on the trade return. That's not a rebuild.
It's not a traditional rebuild.
Is it just okay, if we're bad next year, we're still in a rebuild, but if we're good, then the rebuild's over? Is that what we're looking at here?
That kind of sounds about right. And Pierre LeBrun today at The Athletic had a piece as well where he said that somebody described it as a quote hybrid build rather than, I mean, they're just inventing new terms for what this is. But this is the point, right? Is you can call it whatever you want. At the end of the day, the actions are what's going to make a difference. And look, I'm not going to kill the organization until we see the actual decisions they make. But I'll be honest, some of the rhetoric that I hear coming out of this, I don't get the sense that they're going to patiently build this back up and take their time.
Okay. Let's just hope that's not the case. But put us on the record saying we don't think that's a good idea. Anything else from that you wanted to get to? I still have some stuff I want to talk about with the game, and then we've got anyone else, and we're going to do a spelling bee. I don't know if I told you this. Came up with the idea about 20 minutes before the show. Jacob's got
You're asking the guy that relies on Grammarly to do a spelling bee?
Well, we had this conversation the other day. Remember the spelling argument centered around
Did we?
preternatural?
I
Yeah.
don't think we argued the spelling of the word.
No. People in the chat wanted us to do a spelling bee, so
Oh,
we're giving
really?
the people what they want. Yes. All right. Anyways, anything
right.
else on this that you want to say, like from your story? Anything about tonight's game that you wanted to get to?
Oh, just I mean, in general, the Islanders are one of the funnest teams in the NHL to watch, and this is where, okay, yeah, they were fortunate where they won the lottery to get the number 1 pick and got like a 95th percentile outcome in terms of how impactful the number 1 pick was right away. But after years of them being a Barry Trotz Islanders team where it's low event, pretty similar to Rick Tocchet hockey, where it's very boring to watch, no excitement offensively. They're the exact opposite of that now. Where they're a run and gun team. They're one of the fastest teams in the NHL. And it's not just because of Schaefer. You got Barzal back, which was a massive reason why they missed the playoffs last year, was he only played 30 games and he's been unbelievable. So you've got Horvat on the top when they're healthy, Horvat on the top line, cooking, and he's been having a phenomenal goal scoring year. Then you have Barzal beneath, and even some of the skill that they have further down the lineup in their bottom six. A young guy like Callum Ritchie, who they got as part of the Brock Nelson trade, they're working and integrating him in. Maxim Shabanov was a KHL signing. He's been moving up and down the lineup and has been a key secondary contributor, playing more high leverage role now. The point being, the Islanders are a team that creates chances in bunches. They're very leaky defensively, but Ilya Sorokin is also one of the early Vezina contenders, where that's a massive part of, you want to know why the Islanders have been good, is Ilya Sorokin has been playing out of his mind. And so they're fun. They're a run and gun team that that opens things up, has a ton of pace, and I expect chances both ways tonight.
I went to the Islanders main page and I was just scrolling through. They posted a bunch of photos from their hospital visits. I'm just looking at a photo of Bo Horvat eyeing up. Oh no, that's not Bo Horvat. Sorry, it's an Islanders player eyeing up a Hot Wheels set that's being given to a kid. The look in his eye says, "I wish I had that Hot Wheels set." But you know what else I'm realizing just looking at these photos of the Islanders visiting the children's hospital is Matthew Schaefer really is 18. Like he looks like a kid. Like he looks very, very young. But the thing you hear about this kid is just mature, well beyond his years. And again, plays really well on the ice, but seems like a great dude off the ice as well. All right. Before we get to anyone else, I want to tell everybody about our event tomorrow, our watch party. Vancouver versus Boston. It is at Greta, 50 West Cordova Street is the address. I just secured our reservation. You can secure yours, 604-256-4022 to reserve your spot. Super easy. I just texted them and said, hey, I'd like 4 seats at the Canucks Army watch party, and they just know what you're talking about. They know. The requests have been flooding in, I'm sure. So come hang out, free entry, just make a reservation so you don't complain to me about not having anywhere to sit, because it does fill up, folks. It does fill up. These are very popular. These, you know, we get a lot of people coming out, and it's a lot of fun. So come hang out with us tomorrow at Greta. Like I said, Saturday, September 20th, Vancouver versus Boston. Doors open at 3. Puck drop is at 4 p.m. We've got great specials as well. So come hang out. It's our holiday watch party. Wear a jersey, wear a Christmas sweater. Come hang out with us. Harm's feeling good. We're going to have a good time. All right, let's get to anyone else, which is a presentation of our friends at Pacific Toyota Dealers and the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid, a no-compromise approach to electric vehicles that offers the best of both worlds. You can drive 72 kilometers on battery alone, enough to get you from downtown to the rink, the grocery store, and home to recharge. Seamlessly transition from electric mode to the gas engine for a combined range of 962 kilometers. There's no sacrifices when it comes to horsepower or style with its sleek, low, and wide exterior and sophisticated interior. It's loaded with tech that's actually easy to use. You can plug in to recharge at home or at one of the over 2,000 public charging stations in BC alone. And now you can lease a 2026 Prius plug-in hybrid SE from $109 weekly at 3.99% APR for 64 months with $3,300 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. Rajcraft said, wrap Harm in bubble wrap. You tell me, okay? You tell me. Is this bit bothering you a bit that everybody is calling you, you got the immune system of a newborn baby?
They're not wrong over the last couple of years. I mean, I even got sick on my trip to Spain in the summer of 2024.
Did you
So
really?
yeah, I did in the
Like,
middle of the summer in July.
no. What do you
That
do?
story was
Like,
the
what are
worst too because all it was me and a couple of my close friends, and we had an overnight ferry from Valencia to Ibiza. Instead of flying normally, we decided to take an overnight ferry,
mm,
which was going to land there at like 5 or 6 a.m. Now we ordered we made a reservation where you get a couple of like bunk beds. So we thought, oh, we'll sleep through the night. We ended up being sick as dogs and could not get more than like an hour of sleep.
what
And then
got you
ended up,
sick? What did you do?
I don't know, one of my friends got sick first, and then we all got sick.
Damn. No, that sucks.
So we landed there 5 a.m. off 1 hour of sleep and sick as a dog.
That's brutal. That's brutal. Well, let's hope you're okay. Let's hope you're
No, I'm good now. I'm good now.
Yeah, you're good now. But knock on wood. Knock on wood. I haven't gotten sick in a long time. Like, it's been a while for me since I've gotten sick, but I never leave the house, right? So there's that too. Oh, hang on. Sorry. There's a Elliot Friedman tweet notification. I'm on guard, man. Can I just say this? I'm on guard. Today's the roster freeze. Kiefer Sherwood still hasn't been traded.
Did you see? I imagine we probably don't have it, but the clip of Adam Foote responding to Trance's question at practice yesterday about why isn't Atu Ratu in the lineup, and it was a bit of a word salad from Foote, but also his answer was a bit cryptic, where it almost sounded like he's expecting some potential changes to happen.
Exactly. Jacob, can you go find the clip? Because people were mentioning
I'll
yesterday,
go.
but
I'll go grab it.
It happened right when we went to air, so none of us saw it. And then you can't trust everyone in the chat, so people were like, "Oh, what did you guys think about what he said?" And then we went and listened to it during the show and didn't hear anything. So Jacob will go find us that clip. But yeah, I did see it, Harman. That's kind of why I'm just feeling. And yeah, no, I'm not reporting anything. Mike in the Valley's in the chat, like, what are you hearing? I'm not hearing anything. I just heard what Foote said yesterday, and it was just very weird and cryptic. Karn said every Foote answer is cryptic in a word salad. All right. Anyways, this is the clip from Adam Foote yesterday. This is what he had to say. This is what Harman and I are talking about.
Oh yeah, he works hard. I'm not worried about Ratty. I'm worried about the part of that he's young and we got to keep his confidence and keep his work ethic and how he studies the game. He'll be fine. Yeah, we're going through a little bit right now where some guys are coming off injury and things like that, and he might even be in tomorrow. We'll see. I don't even want to tell you what my gut thinks about the next 2 days because it could change. So I don't want to set anyone up for that, but I don't think it's fair to the players either. But yeah, we're keeping an eye on it for sure.
What? What do you mean? What are we talking about?
Yeah, I don't know, but
that's what's got the alarm bells going off for me, right? Like,
and the other, this isn't directly related, but also strange where I imagine part of the reason the Canucks put Baines on waivers was under the assumption that Elias Pettersson was going to be ready to go, and then he didn't end up playing. And now we've gone from him warming up about a handful of games ago, pulling out of that, being essentially day-to-day, and now doesn't seem like there's any indication that he's going to play tonight either.
What do you even say to that? Like, I have nothing to add. I think you're right. And yeah, maybe it's a setback. I don't want to speculate and go anywhere. Yeah. I have nothing else on that. I'm just wondering if there's going to be a trade, but we'll see. We'll be ready to go. Emergency episode. Harm, you got a haircut today?
No, I don't.
Okay, excellent. Did you see the ring stuff this morning today?
Yeah.
All right. So for those that missed it, Rick Dollywall went on Sportsnet 650 and just offered up that the Abbotsford Canucks still don't have their Calder Cup championship rings. That's weird. That's strange. The players were sized for rings, right? Like they were sized for rings in the summer, and they still haven't arrived. And in Ben Lipka's story, because Ben Lipka does a really good job with the Abbotsford News. In Ben Lipka's story, he wrote that the organization got back to him and hold on, I don't want to misquote it. Let me find this. But basically what I'm getting at, the roundabout story here is that nobody knew what was going on with these rings, and then 45 minutes ago, Bob Marjanovic, the Moj, friend of the show, reporting that they're coming. The rings have been ordered. They're coming in January. So my question is like, okay, did they get ordered today? Like, was it today? Was this a today thing? Like, oh man, this person forgot to do it. Like,
Oh, we got too busy
like,
with the Quinn Hughes trade. We forgot.
that. Okay, now there's a theory, Harm. There's a theory. But in all seriousness, like, you know, I just wonder if it was something that just someone thought someone else was on it and then it never got done, and then today they were like, oh crap, okay, you were supposed to do that, or this person was supposed to do that. So anyways, we'll try to get to the bottom of Ringgate, but the important thing is the rings have been ordered, right? Like that's the important thing when it comes to Ringgate. But yeah, it's silly, man. It's just, it never ends, right? Like it never ends.
Yeah, and I think these little details, the attention that you pay to them, they do add up, and they are, sure, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't look like it matters that, all right, you won an AHL championship and we're in mid-December and the rings haven't arrived. But that lack of attention to the details and that care, I think, can affect other, like that translates to other parts of the organization in ways that I don't think are great. And we've certainly heard a lot of rumors and speculation about the way, not even related to hockey ops, but just the way that this organization, like, look at the number of key departures we've seen on the business side and in other high profile roles. I don't think this is a sign of a well-oiled machine and a first-class organization by any stretch of the imagination.
And this is public information. Like, go look at how many openings are available on LinkedIn for jobs that you would never think would be open, right? And the amount of people that leave the business side. You're right.
Well,
You're absolutely right.
So I remember reading the other day a Botch article from 2018, around the start of the season, where it was an interview with Jeff Stipek. He was in a high-profile business side role. And the story was basically talking about how at that point it had looked like the Canucks were maybe embracing a rebuild, right? It had come after Linden had dropped the rebuild word finally. And the story was breaking down how the season ticket renewals have gone up and just what Stipek and the department has done to make sure that there's still excitement in the market, even though there isn't winning hockey on the ice. And it was a really, like, you would read that story and go, whoa, the organization's doing a terrific job. And if anything, it proves to you, sort of dispels the myth that you can't build excitement during a rebuild. And then I looked up because I was curious, when did he leave the organization? It was about 2 months later, in like 2 months into the season, which is such a strange time to make that kind of change. And he's not the only one that sort of left a high profile role in a pretty mysterious way, despite on paper seeming to have done a really good job. So I know that's not related to Ringgate exactly, but
what we're getting at is that it's very possible that the person in charge of the rings quit over the offseason and then it never got picked up. It's very possible.
I'm not putting it like that, but
I am.
There are questions. There are a lot of questions to be asked over the last number of years about the exodus of senior leadership in various departments outside of hockey operations.
Yeah. This is the quote from the News. All right, the Abbotsford News. The News initially reached out to Abbotsford Canucks management for information about potential championship rings on November 26th, with team management stating they need to have an internal discussion before answering. On December 5th, they said a reply would be given in 1 week's time, but communication stopped after that last message. It's just and not to keep going down this this road. But it's just another example of like, okay, yeah, you're right. It's a small thing, but it's just another thing that it's like, this doesn't happen elsewhere. This doesn't happen with other teams. And Ben even mentioned in the article, the Hershey Bears, they won the Calder Cup back-to-back years. Championship rings were ready to go in October when they're raising their banners.
There are all these little things that go wrong. Where you remember how long ago was it that the Canucks Twitter account got hacked, and then it was tweeting out these crypto scams? Like, where else in the NHL does that happen?
I forgot about that. When was that? Time is just like a flat circle right now. Was that this season?
No, was it?
Or was it last season? Might have been
was
late
last
last season. Yeah. But like calendar year 2025, it must have been.
Yeah, I think it was this calendar year. It was the Canucks Army story is from May 5th of this year.
Of what? I'm so confused. What
Of
what?
Guys, don't you remember
Of the Canucks
Canucks
Twitter getting hacked?
Yeah, and they were pumping
yeah,
like
okay.
crypto stuff.
And then the
for a
breaking,
couple hours.
I'm finding this one, breaking, exclamation mark. Our dear friend Elon has a message to everyone, exclamation mark. And then it's like an AI video of Elon promoting some crypto scam.
Wait, didn't they say something about a Quinn Hughes trade too?
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Okay, enough kicking the Canucks, okay? Enough kicking the Canucks while they're down. All right. Hey, this team isn't down, man. 2 wins. Might be a third tonight. You're going on a streak. We're going streaking. Get in. Anything on tonight's game you wanted to say?
Nothing else. Let's just get to anyone else.
We've been in anyone else for about 20 minutes now. That's all right. Jacob,
You guys ready for the spelling bee?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I've got a bunch of player names here from the NHL, some current, some former, roughly arranged in difficulty, at least I think. So we'll kind of just go through. You guys will alternate. We'll see who ends up with more correct names. All right.
This is going to be bad on my part.
Okay. Who would like to go first?
I'll go first. Harm doesn't want to do
Quads.
this. I'll go first.
Okay, Quads. Your first word is clinkhammer.
Oh, easy. Clink with a K. All right. Klink and then hammer. Easy.
You have to spell hammer. That's how a spelling bee
Okay.
works.
HAMMER.
Correct. All right, Harm. Your first word is Hinostroza.
HINOSTROZA. Good
work. Good work.
My
Couldn't you get it wrong? You just got it wrong.
No.
Oh, no, you got it right. Sorry. I added an N. Go on.
Okay. Quads, your next word is McGroarty, as in Rutger McGroarty.
MCGO. No, not GO. GROARTY. Brody.
Good work. The applause isn't working because I keep clicking it. You'll get it sometimes. Okay. Anyways. Okay, Harm. Your word is. Oh, I feel like this one's a little tougher.
I would have had McGroarty. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay. The next one I've got on the list is Verhaeghe.
Oh, you got it.
It's a common enough one. You've probably written his name in the last few years. So.
He's got it.
VERHAEGHE.
There you go. Good work.
Oh, I would have missed that last H. Good on you, Harm. Good job.
Okay. Quads, your next word is Teravainen.
Oh, I know that one.
TERAIVANEN.
That is incorrect.
Oh, I missed an I, right? I missed an I.
You put the I in the wrong spot. It's TERAVAINEN.
That's what I meant. So it's kind of right.
Sure. All right. So currently, Quads, you are 2 for 3.
Okay.
And Harman, your third word is Niederreiter.
Okay. NIED RREITER.
That is incorrect. You added an extra I, so it's NIEDERREITER. You added an I between the D and the E. So both of you guys are 2 for 3. We are halfway through. So
Halfway. Oh my gosh. Okay.
yeah. Okay, Quads, your next word is Nemesnikov.
That's easy.
Yeah.
Is it?
I'm writing it down because I realized I need to write it. Namestnikov.
That is correct.
That might be cheating. I don't think I should be able to write it down. Harman doesn't have a whiteboard behind him. I'm not gonna write it down. I'm gonna put my whiteboard away. That's cheating. Go on.
Okay, Harm, your next word is Puljujärvi.
That's easy.
PULJUJARVI.
That is correct. Okay, home stretch. You guys are still deadlocked. Quads, your next word is Athanasiou.
ATHANAISOU.
That is incorrect.
What? What did I do wrong?
It is ATHANASIOU.
Oh.
You had the I and the S backwards.
Brutal.
All right, Harm, you can take the lead here. There's only 2 rounds after this, so huge opportunity. If you can get the word Kasperitis.
Oh.
KASPARITIUS.
That is incorrect. Correct spelling for Kasperitis is KASPARAITIS. There's no U. And I think you had the I in the wrong spot as well. All right, final 2 rounds. You guys are still tied up. Quads, your next word is Gostisbehere.
GOSTISBEHERE.
That is correct.
Oh.
All right, Harman, your next word is Grizzlick.
Oh.
GRZCELYK.
That is incorrect.
Yeah, I feel like some of these, if I could write it down, I could.
I think the writing helps, yeah. But you can't write
Grizzlick is GRZELCYK.
I think someone came late. Someone in the chat just like, what's the point of this? People asked for this. People wanted this. Where'd it go?
Also,
wait,
in the chat.
Wait, what did
It's
you
Friday. GRZELCYK. You had to see early.
Spatzilly in the chat says, this is how the season is going. We're doing a spelling bee by December.
Dude, I wish I had Gossesbear instead of Grizzlick.
All right, final round. Quads, you're up by 1. So this is the winning word. If you can get Cornwallis.
Why? Like,
Yvon
okay, I've heard of
Cornwallis.
every
He's
other
a Hall
player.
of Famer. He's a Hall of
No.
Famer.
Say it again.
Cornwallis.
Never heard of him. Montreal Canadiens, probably.
Yes, he's a Hall of Famer.
Never heard of him. All right, CORNWEIHER.
I didn't even need to let you finish. Cornwallis is spelled COURNOYER.
That's one year out the other. Okay, go on.
Well, it's meant to be difficult. Okay, Harm, to stay alive and force the tie. Jackeye.
Oh, oh man.
I come for a steal.
Yeah, I'm gonna butcher this.
I've looked at his DB page enough to know. You got it. Come on.
No, I can't get it. I don't want to make a fool of it.
Xhekaj. That guy.
There you go.
I
Quads
wasn't
got
sure
it.
if the H was before or after the E.
Yeah. So there we go. Quads wins the first and probably only Canucks conversation spell.
Yeah, that's a dud. Holy smokes. All right. The person that was like, what is the point of this? By the end was saying, go Harm. We had a rooting interest by the end. See, we got people into it. Okay, I wanted to get this in as well as we look at some headlines around the league. World Juniors, Braden Coots, as Michael Misa, Tijiginla join the line rushes. Braden Coots down to the fourth line. That's okay. He's going to kill penalties still. Don't know if he's still going to be on PP1 when you have Michael Misa and Tijiginla joining the team, but still, that's okay. Braden Coots still in. Look, we were talking about him as, hopefully he makes the team. He's certainly making the team at this point. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Coots does throughout this tournament.
Yeah, and he's got a skill set that's versatile where it can work up or down the lineup because of his playing style. He's tenacious. He's reliable at both ends of the rink. He's smart. He's competitive. He's just a Swiss Army knife of a player and a coach's dream in that kind of way. Plus, you can play him at center. You can play him on the wing. He's still going to be an important part of the Canadian roster. And I mean, almost for the Canadians' sake, it's not a bad thing if he ends up in a bottom six role, because it means that you've got such high end offensive, like your top six is really going with some of these like superstar potential prospects you have up at the top, that you don't even need to rely on Coots further up the lineup.
There's another headline that caught my eye today, Harm, and that was that Tristan Jarry has been placed on IR. Connor Ingram recalled from the AHL. You and I were together last night when Jarry went down, and we both looked at each other. Oilers need a goalie. Canucks have one. Canucks might have one for you. We're going to get Bag Milk on the show too, I think. Got to get him on the show to do a little mock trade with us. Also, people are upset that I didn't know who this guy that's supposedly in the Hall of Fame is. How did you pronounce his last name, Jacob?
Cornwallier. That's how it's pronounced.
All right. If you had said Cornier, I would have got it, because that's how I've always pronounced it. I didn't know that's how you pronounce it. Cornoyer. That's how I always said it.
And I love, like, supposedly in the no, he is in the Hall of Fame. He won 10 Stanley Cups.
No,
he won Conn Smythe.
I know who Cornoyer is, but I never heard of Cornwallier.
I don't know how you would have only known it as Cornoyer, but okay, sure.
Because I'm reading. I never heard anybody talk about him. Cornoyer.
Sure.
Supposedly.
Whatever you say.
People are getting a kick out of supposedly in the Hall. Let's go through Cornier's hockey DB.
This is going to be a good one.
I don't know if this is a Hall of Fame. I'm just kidding. I'm joking. It's a joke.
I mean, he was never an offensive superstar. He had a few 40-goal seasons, never got to 100 points, but had some big playoff runs. He was the captain later in his career.
Oh, the real reason Quaz doesn't
won
like
10
him.
Stanley Cups.
The real reason Quaz doesn't like him, he's listed at 5'7".
Oh yeah, he was.
There
small.
you go. Figured it out.
He was like so far ahead of his time at playing at 5'7", 175. That's why he was nicknamed the Road Runner, because he was like one of the fastest skaters in the league. So there you go.
I wonder how the average size of NHL players has evolved, because even like Jim Rutherford played nearly 500 NHL games as a 5'8" goaltender.
Well, goalies used to be just way smaller in general. Like you'd put the small, like agile, like fast, twitchy guy in net, not the big guy that you have now. And obviously you still need agility to play the position at the NHL level. But yeah, if you were over 6 feet back in the day, they'd never put you in net. They'd put you on defense. They'd tell you to go around, hit people.
I can't get over Cornoyer because I think he had a card in like NHL 17 Hockey Ultimate Team, and I had him on my team, and I was pronouncing it Cornoyer.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think we have anything else. Anything from you guys?
I'm looking at Jim Rutherford's old hockey DB page, and man, could he grow a mean mustache.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's so funny too, because just the haircuts back then.
Yeah, they're so different than now, hey?
So
Yeah.
I've got a graph here on NHL average player height from 1917 to 2015. So it's interesting because like in the first 50 or so years of the NHL, the average height slightly increased kind of along with the North American male average in height. But then by like the early 60s, NHL players kept getting on average about 2 inches taller every decade. But the average male height plateaued. So it was about the early 1960s when hockey players got taller at a faster rate than the average male population in North America. So there you go. The more you know.
Very interesting.
Cali Canuck.
Friday.
Quads, you know.
Sorry.
Quads, you know French words are pronounced differently than English or Italian words. Yeah, I know that. I don't know how, but yeah. And Minty in the chat said, "Are they still taking anyone else's?" Yes, please. Give us one. Give us one. Taran Clooney said, "Welcome to welcome to Canucks Convo, where we can't spell names and talk about the evolution of short kinks in hockey." I'll just say I know how to spell names. I got like what, 2 wrong, and one of them was a
Yeah, but
trick question.
fair enough. You also, well, I butchered Jack Eye, so I can't say anything. But
Okay.
Athanasiu, I would have rather had that than Kasperitis all day long.
Kasperitis was tough. Athanasiu is the ultimate, like, I need to write that one down. I need to, like, see it to know how to spell it for sure. All right. Oh, here we go. Minty came in with a question here. Said, would Boston be a reasonable trade destination for Sherwood in exchange for their Toronto first round pick, given the spread in the Atlantic between the Leafs and the Bruins?
I could see Boston being in on Sherwood. However, I don't think you're going to be able to pry out that Leafs pick, considering where the Leafs are in the standings and how high that first round pick could end up being. Right? Like if the Bruins, if I'm the owner of the Boston Bruins and Don Sweeney trades that first round pick, the Leafs one for Kiefer Sherwood, that's a fireable offense right there.
Really?
Yeah. The Leafs could, they're 23rd in the NHL standings right now. So that could be now I think the pick is top 5 protected, but if it's between 6 to 10,
yeah, you still, yeah.
Or even 6 to 12, that's way higher than anybody would have imagined when the Leafs first traded that pick at last year's deadline as part of the Brandon Carlo deal.
Yeah, 100%. That's a fair point. That's a very fair point.
Now the Bruins, I was going to say, the Bruins holding that pick, does it make their first round pick possible in a trade because they know that they could end up with a top 10 pick from Toronto, or would it still be unlikely that you get a first round pick out of Boston in a Sherwood deal?
I still think it's unlikely just because the standings are so compressed. So Boston's in a decent position now, but all it takes is one losing streak and that pick could end up being way higher. So I guess unless you're the Bruins and you're 100% certain that this is a playoff team and we're legit, we're not just going to fall off in the second half, then maybe, but I still lean towards it being a bit unlikely. I imagine if they were poking around that they'd want to move like a second round pick and something else instead.
Jay Mobs said this. Should Jim put the Luke Hughes contract in front of Zeev on July 1st? We talked about it yesterday. We talked about and again, you call it the Luke Hughes contract, the Jackson Lacombe contract, the Lane Hudson contract, but for $500,000 more annually. A long-term extension for Zeev Buium. We were talking about it. We were talking about it yesterday, and man, we had a really good discussion about it yesterday, so we don't need to rehash it all, but man, there is something to be said about just getting this done early and not dragging it along. Like, it's kind of embarrassing that the Quinn Hughes negotiation, and I'm talking about his most recent contract that he signed with the Canucks, the one that they just had to trade. It's embarrassing, like, that one took as long as it did. He didn't start camp on time because they went into a longer negotiation, and I know they went quote unquote long term, but how did that end up, right? Like, how did that end up? It wasn't the full 8 years, and part of the reason was they traded for Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and they had other business that they had to attend to and take care of first. And it's just, when you look back on it, it's one of those errors that was pretty unforced. I mean, it was forced by their own mistakes and stupidity, but avoid that this time around. I think there's a good conversation to be had about that. This is an interesting one. We got 2 of these about Canucks target McKenna over Stenberg in the draft because Stenberg has a brother on the Blues already, thinking ahead to avoiding another Quinn Hughes situation. And then Colin Whitehead said, which player in this draft fits better on the Canucks, McKenna or Stenberg? Now, I'm McKenna until proven otherwise. I haven't seen enough of Stenberg to have a firm opinion. I think Stenberg is going to be a great player from what I've heard, but like, I've seen McKenna play, and again, just the conversations we've had about McKenna, and admittedly, I haven't watched a ton of Penn State to be able to form an opinion of why things aren't going great at Penn State. I just look at it and say it's a 17-year-old kid playing in the NCAA. Brought it up yesterday. It's not like he's not a main point producer on his team. That team's not putting up a ton of points right now. I look at that and I'm not really pushed off of Gavin McKenna just because his point totals are low as a 17-year-old in the NCAA.
Yeah, he's pure electricity. And look, could this conversation evolve because we've still got 6 months left? Yeah, but as of now, McKenna is more of a natural game breaker. The way that he can move and just the handles that he has, the creativity, making something happen out of nothing. This Canucks team needs that ability, needs that kind of game breaker up front. And it's worth remembering too that McKenna, as a 16-year-old, he put up 129 points in 56 WHL games. The year before, when he was 15 years old at the start of the WHL season, he had 97 points in 61 games. So yeah, sure, the last 2 months of his playing career haven't been as dominant as you would have expected, but everything before that spoke to this is historic level production. And I would still lean towards him today.
Someone said trade for Shai Buyam. I did not know Zeev had a brother.
Technically has 2, but the oldest one never really made it into pro hockey. He just kind of played low-level junior. But
so Zeev is the youngest of 3?
Zeev is the youngest of 3. We talked about that actually on yesterday's show as well, the youngest brother being the best, and sometimes it works out that way, and sometimes it doesn't. Well, maybe in the Buyam's case, it has.
Shai Buyam, 22 years old, left shot defenseman, playing with the Detroit Red Wings organization. 2nd-round pick in 2021. Dude, I like this guy.
I believe he's injured right now. I think he's been out all year.
Don't care.
So, okay.
I've looked at the medical files. He's good.
He's a left shot defenseman, 6'3", 220. So pretty big, actually. And he had 25 points in 67 games in the American League last year for Grand Rapids.
6'3".
Yeah, Quads likes that.
All right. Anything else, Harm?
No, I'm good.
All right, let's get to our Bet365 bet of the day. More of a fun, laid-back show today. We'll be back on Monday to break down 2 Canucks games. We want to see everybody at our watch party as well on Saturday. All right, I've been on. Like yesterday, I picked the Minnesota Wild. They were slight favorites, and they're really, really good. Really, really good since they've gotten Quinn Hughes, and they won. No surprise there. They won that game. The Florida Panthers are hosting. Oh, I don't know, Harm, because I tell you, the home underdogs are good to select. Do you like the Florida Panthers at plus 115 odds against Carolina Hurricanes?
I have no vibes take on this.
I do.
Know this by now. This is on you.
Okay. Just quickly checking the hardwood. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I found one on the hardwood that I like. We're hammering it. Okay. The Atlanta Hawks are home underdogs taking on the San Antonio Spurs. Does Trae Young still play for them?
I think so. Does he, Jacob?
Yeah, Trae Young's still an Atlanta Hawk.
See, I know ball. You remember? Yeah, anyways. Trae Young and what team? The Hawks, the Atlanta Hawks. They're taking on the San Antonio Spurs tonight. Home underdogs. You can get them at plus 135 odds. Jacob, write it down for Monday. That's our bet of the day. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get on the game. Use the code NATION at Bet365. Must be 19 plus play. If you choose to play, please play responsibly. All right, we'll close it out there. For my co-host Harman Dial and our technical producer Jacob Lazar, my name is David Jelly. Thanks so much for the episode of Canucks Conversation. Canucks Conversation is live Monday through Friday, every weekday at 2 p.m. over on the Canucks Army YouTube channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, and interact in the YouTube live chat every day with us, folks.